Call with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Well, coming up on the Sports Drive, we're going to break down the game I think we all were paying attention to last night. 3 a.m. in the morning, Belarus soccer. Vishnikov. Can't wait.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Brock's been beaten. The result that's come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every night on Blab TV. I am Chad Berliante. Glad to be with you as, these days, getting out of the house. Glad to have a couple minutes out here, at least 6 feet away, about 8.5 today. Most guys, when we talk about this, we always go a little bit bigger, right? About 9, maybe 9.5, 10. 10 feet away from me right now. JP over there. What's happening, my friend?
We're on radio. They have no idea. No, how about this? I just read this, actually. The Saints are setting up their NFL draft headquarters.
At a bar?
Yep, at the Dixie Brewing Company facility.
I've already claimed there's a couple tickets
awesome.
You can get to sit there and be a sampler, a draft sampler with them.
Maybe outside.
There's this is going to be do you think anybody drinks a Corona live on TV?
No. No, because, look, they're already being criticized for having the draft period. Adam Schefter's gone off about this. He said basically how dare them do the draft right now when we have carnage in the streets. It's like, okay, I'm not going to disagree or agree. I understand we've got a lot of stuff going on, but holding the draft right now doesn't hurt anybody. Nobody has to get out and do really anything because they're doing this. I know you've got team members that are getting in groups of 6 or 7 to do this, but the NFL said that's okay as long as you practice social distancing. And we know these guys obviously are going to use caution. But what's the big deal? I really don't understand this. If anything, right now we need some type of diversion. Nobody's getting hurt in all this. The athletes are going to be at home. They're not going to be there. The NFL sent out like 50 cameras to guys that they believe are going to be drafted pretty high, and then big-time college coaches out there to make comments on this from their house. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand what the big problem is.
If it wasn't for the NFL right now, there would be literally nothing for us to talk about.
I think Shefty's just salty because he's being stuck in his house right now.
Yeah, well, he's probably the one. If you think about everybody right now across the board at ESPN, like Barry Melrose is chilling. These guys, like most people, are at home hanging out with their families. They get paid a decent amount. Former athletes out there hanging out in the hot tub right there. Got like a grotto. got Miguel serving him some like pina coladas where he brings it to him, sets a tray down 6 feet from the hot tub. You have you go get it. I was about to say have your lady. That would have been rude. So that part would have taken it to a whole new level. Everything else was fine before that comment. And then, you're just hanging out. But all these other guys in the NFL, they have to work every day. Look, Trey Wingo's not shaving. He's out there. He's coming to the studio, no makeup, no shaving, hanging out. And you got the other guys out there, some of them looking slick from their homes. The ones that literally enjoy dressing up. Like there was for a while when we were in the business, going out business to business, I would have to wear a suit every day and never do the tie, the Italian, and not the tie. But ever since we've been on house arrest pretty much until we come to work here, there hasn't been a day where it hasn't been sandals and shorts and probably like a long sleeve T-shirt. It's been that kind of day every single day. And that's what a lot of people do when they go home. And personally, I think it's nice to see people all across the board, these celebrities and stars, looking like everyday people. Our weathermen, our anchormen, there's certain people we still want to look professional. We understand that. But I think it's cool to see people dressed in their normal ways and everybody FaceTiming in on these things. I do have to say, though, in this situation, we live in 2020 now. I wish if we can go to a time machine to 2019, it'd be nice. But we need to realize that forever we didn't have technology to embrace a lot of this stuff, and now we do. And people are saying we can't have the draft. You know how easy it would be? Where you could set up a virtual NFL draft. It's one of the easiest things. Anything that doesn't have to do with physical activity, and for that matter, we're already simulating games on Madden and playing. People are getting so sick of even watching that, they're taking the computer versus the computer and betting on games that are played simulated on a video game. Come on, baby, come on. And then they step in when the guy's not looking, put it over to player one mode, run for a touchdown. Hey, how'd you guys take the lead? Don't worry about it. You owe me a 20 spot, 6 feet away. I just look at this and say the draft is one thing that we still at this point, regardless if we have it at the location in Las Vegas or whatever we end up doing, we still should be able to understand that we can have an NFL draft. I mean, an NFL draft can go on regardless of whether we have it at a venue or not. So I don't have any problem with this.
Well, Coach K even, he said, of course, when we had Jim Haslett on the show, Jim was like, look, when I got drafted, I got a phone call.
Yeah.
It said, hey, you've been drafted by the Bills. And he's like, oh, okay. He said, all right, bye. And that was it. Like that. So and look, you're building this up, and we could do it that way, but you're building it up for some entertainment value because you bet all eyes will be on it if it's on there. Even these people that are criticizing having the draft, well, if you're criticizing it, don't watch. That's what I'm going to say. It's the same thing. If you don't like NFL football, I get it. I'm not saying, you can believe whatever you want and everything, but don't watch. Don't support things. If you don't like Walmart, what they do, then don't go there. But these people that are hypocrites, they go there. They're going to watch and things like that because it's on TV. There's no problem with having the draft. There is nothing. These guys aren't getting out there. These athletes are going to be in their homes. They're sending cameras out. Like, everything's going to be fine.
Get them out of here.
And listen, it's the same thing because the NFL is getting criticized for coming out and saying, we're planning as if we're going to have a full season with fans. And they're, how dare them do that? Who do they think they are? Well, why cancel it now? I know Louis Riddick came on, and you could tell it bothered him, and he wanted to say something, but he goes, well, I don't really have a problem with it right now, but they better be ready to have a plan. Well, I'm sure they have a plan. It's the NFL. Everybody's going to have a plan because if we have orders that are in place, you have no choice. But for the NFL to come out and say, listen, we're planning as if we're going to have a regular season, you have to because we have no idea. Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and it's unlikely to happen right now that all this would be gone in 2 months, but 2 or 3 or 4 months, this could be possibly gone, not maybe completely, but a point where we can get back to normal life. We have no idea, though. That's the thing, is this is a day-by-day process to criticize the NFL, which, believe me, I've criticized the NFL plenty, so I'm not biased here, trust me, but what is the problem with that? Why are we having a problem? Are we that bored now that we are ready to jump on board to criticize anybody about anything when it comes to sports? I said today on the show, if the worst thing we have, and I've said it on this show, the worst thing for me right now is sports has been taken away. I live a pretty dang blessed life. And if you're out there listening to this or you watch or whatever, and that's your biggest problem right now, you're living pretty good, my friend. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing we need to remember in all this. So to criticize them and stuff like this, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's one of these kind of things where everybody's living it differently. But once again, it's been at the foreground of everything. Like I said, if you've listened to The Voice today, wife usually likes it when it's a little deeper. One of these like coming in like one of those lounge singers, like, yeah, gonna play a little Sinatra for you here tonight. But today, I been getting a little bit of a raspy throat, little lethargic feeling, and all of a sudden I feel like I've sort of held back. Now I'm announcing it to everybody out there, but don't worry, you don't have to see me anyway. I go home and am following the rules.
That's because you're smoking problem, but that's fine.
That's right. Me running up the stairwell to get here to do this show doesn't mean I have anything outside of I need to get to the gym more. That's the only thing I've learned from this process. But a lot of people left and right are still going to go ahead and get things, normal every single day things that they've dealt with before. People are still going to deal with all the other stuff, cancer, and that hasn't come to a stop. And you know what? That heart disease, cancer still takes more people. We're at a level where this thing isn't getting better. It's going up right now, and we're trying to flatten the curve. The announcement was made today. If you missed it by now, which I don't expect anyone to miss it, but Thursday at midnight, we will have no more essential business.
Yeah, and the thing for people, don't panic with this. Everything's going to be fine. The essential businesses are going to be open. Of course, healthcare will be open. Grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations. If you're a restaurant with takeout, plants, any sanitation. I mean, there's a million different things. Even pet stores, because you have to take care of your pets and stuff like that. And you're still allowed to go out, walk, whatever you need to do, get your sunlight, get your exercise. But this is nothing really any different. I mean, this is just trying to prevent large groups. And I believe David Morgan came out today and said, look, we're not going to be pulling everybody over, checking to see what's going on. Use common sense in this, but if we do see in a larger group, yes, we're gonna figure out what's going on there. So for people out there like, oh my god, rushing the grocery stores, you're still going to be able to do pretty much everything, except you're not going to be able to go get that dress that maybe you wanted or anything. So go to Walmart, get your knitting needles or whatever you got to do and make you a nice one.
If you got bikinis and board shorts, you got one of those big blow-up flamingos in the back trunk, and you listen to some Chesney with the windows down, you might get pulled over. I mean, nothing essential outside of it.
I do that in my backyard. Yeah.
It sounds like that was a good party. Unless you have the receipt that you left Walmart and you were that excited to change into your whole gear until you came home, then that might be okay. We'll let you slide. The essential businesses, based on the rule that's passed, a lot won't change. It will change for some people, but overall, healthcare, public health, law enforcement, public safety, and all first responders, food and agriculture, so that's a broad term, employees supporting the energy sector, including electricity, petroleum, and natural gas industries. Don't make a joke of this, that you went and had
natural gas.
Yeah. So if I come back from Taco Bell and am I essential?
You got more than natural gas for that.
Water, wastewater, transportation, logistics. You got communication, information, and technology, other community, government-based operations and essential functions, critical manufacturing, residential, shelters, facilities and services, hygiene products and services, and more. So pretty much a lot of the stuff that's still open. The places that are still open and essential. I know there's a couple spots that were shut down, JP, that were close to your heart, and they will not be open anymore. But we've gone down that path for a couple weeks, so we understand. Those.
It's tough, but they'll survive. They have other ways to survive.
the different places.
By the way,
yeah.
What about this is I was just reading the article on this. Of course, the strip clubs. That shut down.
Oh,
now, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Gentlemen's clubs.
It's a family show here.
Gentlemen's clubs.
Okay.
And they went out and did a food delivery service.
Did they really? Yeah.
They called it Boober Eats.
And weren't they? They were going house to house taking a poll, right? They were taking a poll of how people thought it was. No, I mean like a general, just seeing how many people enjoyed it. A poll, not. Where are you going on this? You going somewhere else with that? Come on now. People had the opportunity to give them a little Charmin. Here.
Hey, this is some good news here. How about this?
So with that, you just shared good news. What
Shin Soo Choo. Have you read this? By the way, for their 191 minor leaguers that they have in their system, he's all giving them $1,000 each.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Somebody heard that name and said, he's got it.
Probably, absolutely.
We would not do that. How dare us?
No.
Shin Soo Choo. He's got it. Continue, though, please.
No, he said he's actually done this before, though, that he remembers the financial struggles whenever he was in the minors. So he wanted to be able to give back, and it was his little way of giving back right now. And if he needs to do more, he will. So there you go. How
Good for
that?
him. He's a good guy too. When he
Awesome
played for
guy.
the Reds, the Rangers, he's been on a lot of teams. He's one of those journeymen that he's been a competitor everywhere he goes, and he's a solid player. So that's a solid move. A lot of people doing some really good things. Drew Brees, obviously $5 million with his family to the state of Louisiana that really needs it. Shin Choo Choo. There's been a ton of people that have really stepped
Say
up
it
the
10
game.
times fast.
I don't want to talk 10 times fast right now. But, yeah, essential services are still out there. Just be careful. Understand what's happening right now. Last night, I've been watching a lot of the ESPN Classics. Pretty much have watched so many of them that I ventured out into watching more games. So I rent the Cougar Network, thinking BYU and Houston's going to be on last night.
Brittany was
and,
not happy.
no, my daughter is not either. We're coming back for more. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV. Go BYU, I think, won. There's a lot of fighting going on.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
First Take, your take.
Number one, if you are Cam Newton going to New England, why in God's name would you want Cam Newton to succeed Tom Brady? You don't want to put Cam Newton in that situation when he's 31 years of age. There are people speculating that we may have very well seen the very, very best of him. You don't want that for him.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given. Nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things. My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face, right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I had a dream so
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brilliante, JP outside the glass, 850-623-1330. Different April Fools today. Didn't feel like doing too many pranks. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not one of these kind of days where I think everybody's a little bit either on edge or they're a little stir-crazy from being in their house. So there's a better chance if somebody would have pulled one of those, like, jumping out of the trash can, that somebody might actually, like, sled you in the face with a bat. Like, those things, it's like, yeah, people are all on alert, so be careful. I mean, I didn't play any pranks today. Usually I would have about 5 or 6 set up for you. I did not have any.
Well,
maybe this is all part of the decoy to believe you.
All the
believe
April
what I'm saying.
Fool's jokes aside, did you hear about the big trade?
I heard the April Fool's joke. Tom Brady's going to Tampa. It started in March. I mean, it was a little early.
We'll talk about that a little bit
Just
later.
like the curve, we were trying to get in front of it.
That could be.
They were trying to get in front of it 2 weeks, right?
You may need to wrap your mind around that.
April Fool's.
That's real.
I'm hoping tomorrow when I wake up after the bottle of Wild Turkey that tomorrow Tom Brady's back in the Pats and everything's good. I'm just going to hope. Don't talk to me now about it.
You may need to drink a lot more before you realize
I didn't say how many bottles of Wild Turkey. I'm just saying.
Pat Mahomes to the Vikings for Kirk Cousins. And a second-round pick, though.
Pat Mahomes did play for Minnesota.
Yeah.
The Twins.
Yeah, but
Pat Mahomes
the young one.
Oh, okay.
The youngin.
Oh, the other guy is for the Chiefs now.
Yeah, so that's a big pickup for the Vikings.
You think Andy Reid's still making the runs for doubles?
Yes, of course. No, he's getting them delivered, I'm sure.
Did you ever have a steak salesman come to your house, by the way?
Yes.
On a side? I have too. And I got it, too. He convinced me. At first, I was like, why is this guy with a box of steaks? And then he said, come out to my van. I'll show you in the freezer. Now, I've had that happen to me multiple times. 3 of them, it turned out to be horrible. And they finally found me. But the other times, it ended up being just really good steaks.
You bought horse meat.
Hey, listen, at this point,
whoa.
You got to do what you got to do to survive. Nothing except any of that crap that you saw in Wuhan. I don't want to see anybody eating that. I'd be, listen, I'm not going to get into it. Like, you see my vigilante mood. I would be fine with, just ending it right there. Well, timeline of events, now that we have about 7,000 cases, 100 deaths here in the state of Florida around, pretty much at this point we understand what has happened throughout the times. Remember, to go through a little quick timeline in the synopsis of sports. Remember, we started back in February, right around Mardi Gras. We got ready for the trifecta parades and having fun. Everybody was still cheering on UWS football team as Pete Shinnick was the grand marshal. We were still taking selfies because nobody knew that you had to be 6 feet away. And everything was good. But it was pics of Corona beer, and that sucks for that one cruise ship. Remember that? That was what we had in late February. That one cruise ship. Man, it would stink to be on that cruise ship.
Seemed like a year ago.
And pics of Corona beer to talk about it. Then we moved on to the timeline of, yikes, Italy's playing soccer without fans. And that happened in early March. Wow, what's Italy doing right now? Can't believe it. I'm watching Juventus on. They don't even have a crowd. What's they doing right here? Boycotting pasta. Tom Hanks and Rudy Gobert test positive on March 11th. And the NBA is canceled. It goes to a whole new level.
I remember watching that Mavs game when all this went down. And
oh, yeah.
Mark Cuban's walking around showing the refs and everything, and I'm thinking in my head, like, what is going on? And then, sure enough, the next morning, boom.
Yeah, crazy.
There it is.
Crazy. And then Tom Hanks and the story. And, we haven't seen Rudy Gobert or Tom Hanks and the guys since because they're fine and they are okay. Like most people under the age of 80 will recover. But at the same time, it started to freak people out a little. Then it was March the 12th. Everybody remembers Friday the 13th. This was Thursday the 12th in our world where we're sitting in studio. I'll remember like it was yesterday. It wasn't too far ago. This is not like one of these back in the days. It was like 3 weeks ago. But the situation where you had St. John's and Creighton, and they're still playing and dropping like flies were every conference tournament. Every one of them. The ACC was holding on, then they were gone. The Big 12 and Pac-12 were holding on, and then they were gone. And then you had the Big East, and they were the last ones. St. John's and Creighton were still playing with fans. They go into the locker room at halftime. Mike Anderson's got his team brewing. They're on a run. They have a shot to make the tournament if they can win it out. Creighton's probably getting a 2 seed. They're a pretty solid team, so this would be a huge win for them. And then they cancel it at halftime. And people are like, come on, man. And we all sort of were still fighting it at that point from the sports world. This is from the sports side, not the medical side, the fandom side. And then just like flies, every single league. And some of the ones you expected to stay strong, some of the, you ain't taking that beer in the game away from me, bro. The kind of, you had NASCAR, you had UFC fighting, you had boxing and the XFL that still realized that they were trying to fight strong. You had 4 or 5 leagues still trying to make it happen. And then eventually, they all had to cancel as well.
Darn that XFL.
Locally, you had the Blue Wahoos, Ice Flyers, high school, UWF, Pensacola State, all having to cancel as well, and we expected. We had a chance over that week to talk to every one of the owners, coaches, teammates, all the people. Not every teammate. We didn't have time for that. But everybody out there, they didn't have time for us either. But I had a chance to let everybody know what's happening. And it got to the point where we realized that this was very serious, and people had to spend time. Then we got to know Aussie Rules Football and ESPN Classic, where really, even if it was Fox Sports 2, it became ESPN Classic. Aussie Rules Football, I still ultimately never figured out the whole game. I'm not going to lie. You could tell those guys were tough guys.
You're not supposed to.
That if you were one of those kind of guys at the bar that, in the movies where they break the beer bottle in half and say, come on, broski, the guy would still beat the crap out of you. They were all those guys. They were not playing games, any of these guys, when they were the only ones playing games. But Aussie Rules Football, I still ultimately did not get it all. And don't say it was rugby, because it wasn't completely rugby. I like rugby. But there was, out of nowhere, he was about to get hit and he'd kick a ball for 10 points.
Yeah, it was rugby and football.
It was rugby football. It was a little too confusing.
And the
Bring
other
back
thing,
slam ball. I like slam ball.
The other thing is some of those guys have been playing for 7-8 years, and Chad, they don't know all the rules either. They don't. Kind of make them up as they go. So.
And it really was the epitome of not staying 6 feet away from each other either. It was gang tackling of 20, 30 people spitting in people's face pretty much with no face guard. That was pretty much the sport. But it was entertaining because we all watched. Even Australian A-League football that I would wait up till 3 a.m. when it was afternoon over there. Then Kevin Durant and Sean Payton got the virus, and it got more serious. We enjoyed funny posts, like, because of the virus and everybody has to now be on lockdown, the only jokes I will make around here are inside jokes. Or people just had fun with it, talking about the, we had some of the coronavirus. Regardless of what's happening, we're taking it serious. But the pickup lines, Jeffrey D sent some of those that day, and we had a couple laughs. Hey, girl, is that hand sanitizer in your pocket, or are you just happy to be within 6 feet of me? Or if this corona doesn't take you out, can I? How about, baby, you need TP because I could be your Prince Charming. Without you in my life, it's as empty as the bread aisle. You can't spell coronavirus without you and I. Since all the libraries are closed, I'm checking you out, gal. And I really can't stay. No, really, because, baby, it's COVID outside. So all of those classic ones, and we kept the laughter going. Still serious. Then people posted everything about the Tiger King, and we realized way too much that everybody in that whole entire documentary was awful. Awful human beings that were all part of it. Except Shaq said, look, I just took a photo with a baby tiger, and I love to donate. Shaq's good. Shaq's cool. And then people continue to be stir-crazy and walk their dog 50 times where you didn't know that your dog would get sick of walks after a point. Didn't even know that actually exists. But it got to the point now where today the announcement was made that as of Thursday at midnight, we'll be in a 24/7 lockdown or stay-at-home policy with many essentials, and people will still be able to go out and do most of the thing. It won't change that much outside of what we've had the last 2 weeks. However, you probably won't be able to go out there, go to a Fort McRae or one of the swimming pools out there in public or anything going on. People still continue, and now we realize that over the next 2 days, you're going to see more people out on the roadways than you have seen since we started this, getting the essentials and all trying to figure it out together. But that's where we're all at sports. So for the people wanting to cancel the NFL draft and all the things, look, Wimbledon canceled for the first time since World War II, but that has a lot to do with, think about what Wimbledon is. It is traveling all over the world to travel into one destination. The NFL draft you can do virtually. You could do it you could have people sitting 6 to 10 feet away from each other that are part of management and still be able to make the announcement and then go right to the person. We know only 20 people get invited to be there. I think it's 20 people for the lottery picks get invited to be there. Remember Geno Smith? That was the best one when Geno Smith wasn't getting drafted and he was like hiding behind the wall. That's one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of national TV is when a guy in an NBA, NFL draft, because those are the two main ones. Major League Baseball and NHL, they don't get the same viewership. They just don't. The NFL draft and the NBA draft, though, when one of the players has to either hide behind the wall or is sick of it or is taking the cell phone and they keep calling, but they're like, you're on the list, but you're like, oh, it looks like he's going next. And it's just grandma being like, Gino, we still love you. I still got that lasagna for you, Gino. And he's like, Grandma, 15 teams just passing me. I'll call you back, all right? Like, watching him go, he was supposed to go projected 14, he ended up going 32, I believe. But to watch all those picks go by and you're that lottery pick that has been canceled, that's one of the most embarrassing moments. Larry Tunsil was very lucky he wasn't at the draft that night. That would have been the worst night of his life. It already was, but
you know what Coach K told me today, which I thought was interesting, I've never thought of. He said that one of the top rules whenever, in their war room is before we even think about drafting this guy, let's get him on the phone. And I was thinking, okay, like you're just going to call the guy up and let him know. And he said, no, it's to make sure the guy's not gone. Like, so you know where the guy's at. He said because in all reality, the guy could have walked out, got hit by a car, got in a car accident, something could have happened. You don't want to draft a dead guy. And that's actually a really good point, though. Like he said, so one of our biggest things is make sure we get that guy on the phone before we draft him, and let's talk to him. It's like, okay.
I mean, that's a.
Can you imagine a team, and it's going to be horrible, absolutely horrible, unless the guy was just like, yeah, I'm in Boca. I'm not.
Someone pulled Darren Robbins before the Super Bowl.
And he literally, you draft this guy, and then you find out something happened, and it's like, well, sorry, pal, you drafted him. Maybe you should have done your homework.
What if he's on the phone, like when Jake Fromm, and it didn't get worse, but remember when he got the fish hook to the leg? Or one of the guys, didn't he also have, that was a horrible summer for Jake Fromm. He also had the inner tube accident, right? But imagine him being like, hey, getting a call. They're all on the, listening to some sitting there, rocking it out to one of the country bands on a dock and chilling, drinking a couple cold ones. They're all 21. And then they get that call. Hey, guys, here it is. Coming in. Gets the call. Ow! And they get what was that? Nothing. Dude, your shoulder all right, bro? Be like, Jake will call you back. Hello? Hello, coach? Let's not go with them. That did not sound good. They get a chopper to fly over that lake in Lake Charles. Spying on them. You got to be careful with that. And look, and when we talk about this, think about what you would do. We talk about these people as athletes become commodities in a lot of ways. We don't care what they do when they go out. You hear these stories of, Draymond Green, he missed a game because he was under the weather. Look, I worked in the hospitality business as a bartender in Vegas. Under the weather meant that their game was played that night in Los Angeles, and they went to a couple extra clubs after the game, and he was under the weather to play the next night. That's really more than likely what happened. And frankly, people are going to do that. They're going to continue to make – there are a bunch of 20-year-olds, early 20-year-olds that have money. The only trusted people should be the older athletes like Tom Brady, who's home with his family, a Drew Brees, who's donating money, a Big Ben never mind.
Moving on.
Let's go ahead and take a break on that note. One of them always has to ruin it for the rest of us. Coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
First Take, your take.
Number one, if you are Cam Newton going to New England, why in God's name would you want Cam Newton to succeed Tom Brady? You don't want to put Cam Newton in that situation when he's 31 years of age. There are people speculating that we may have very well seen the very, very best of him. You don't want that for him.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best 4G LTE networks, same as the big carriers, but just for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, saving you up to half the cost of the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah.
And welcome back, 5:37 on this amazingly beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Are you with me, or are you sort of rooting for rain some of these days? I mean, not always. I mean, sometimes we want, but some days I almost want it to be that one day. Remember, we had the nasty a couple days ago. Was that yesterday? Yesterday. Okay, geez, it's been a couple long days. But yesterday, when like the tornado watches were, in fact, it almost felt like the day we're living. You know, where everybody has to stay inside and lock down, and like that. You look outside, you're like, "Yep, that's where I should be." But like a day like this, man. Whew. Day like this in springtime, you feel like
ever since all this happened, our weather for the majority has been better than it ever has.
Yeah,
it's been beautiful outside, with the exception of a few days here and there, but it's crazy.
Well, and I think people just need to understand that when I say this, we're still doing the right thing. It's just it's a lot tougher, like I said, to know that you live in Florida. I mean, honestly, outside of the weather. I'm stopping right there. I was trying to think of number 2 on this. We love the Blue Angels, but they tour. They still tour to your city. I'm just trying to think of, besides the weather, what is the reason you live in Florida? You know what I'm saying? Humidity sucks. For a sweaty Italian like me, I hate it. I lived out on the West Coast and didn't sweat at all. You know, if it came to trying with traffic, heck no. If it comes to living an American way, we have more diversity in this state than anywhere, which is fine. I like that. But, you know, I'm just trying to think of outside of the weather. And right now it's the best weather we've had in a very long time, and nobody can enjoy it. All right, enough of this Debbie Downer stuff. Let's talk about somebody that is making a huge impact on everybody's life for the best. Bill Belichick. He delivered a message talking about as the world navigates through unprecedented times. He talked about delivering an inspiring, reassuring word on how to mitigate the spread. Now, this, because it's important now that we get this, from Bill Belichick is what he had to say.
Belichick, I want to reach out to you in these uncertain and unprecedented times to let you know that I and the New England Patriots are behind you. We are all in this together.
With a camera.
Thank you to our heroic medical professionals, doctors, nurses, medical workers, and others who are selflessly and courageously doing their job to take care of others in need. We have heard your stories and seen some of your great work. You are truly champions.
He has seen all their work.
We are facing a difficult opponent. It will take teamwork, discipline, and commitment to do the right things all the time. That includes staying at home. I encourage everyone to shelter in place for as long as necessary as we fight this virus together. There are plenty of things we cannot do right now, but let's focus on what we can do. We can adapt, we can adjust, and we can make better decisions right now for the betterment of the future. As I tell our team, let's keep stringing good days together, and we will get through this.
You know, there he is. Now, without that right there, JP, would you been able to go home to Autumn and everybody today and just continue to live life? That right there was one of the most inspiring. When you talk about speeches in the history,
you know what's
of
gonna
what
happen,
people
though,
have
right?
done right there.
Roger Goodell's going to find him. They're going to find something wrong with that. He's going to find him.
What if he should have ended it and saying, "And we're moving on to the Chargers." This spread will be moving on like we are with this press conference.
We don't need Tom. Tom, if you're listening, ignore all
No,
this.
no. Tom, you know what Bill Belichick, I think, is going to – I mean, his legacy's already set. But Bill Belichick is one of these kind of guys. I feel like he's okay because Vegas right now is setting their line at 9.5 wins. They're expecting them to be a 9-17. Tom Brady's worst year ever was not that bad. At this point, we need to realize that they're setting a bar and a standard that they're not going to be at. We know that. They're not going to be better with Tom Brady. Let's just without Tom Brady. That's not happening. But I do have to say, though, that Bill Belichick is okay because if it doesn't work out, it's like, yeah, he left you high and dry. Team wasn't that good. But if he does pull something off, if he goes out there and wins, and remember, the Miami Dolphins are getting better. They did pick up Kyle Van Noy. They picked up Byron Jones.
We're not talking about winning the Super Bowl, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
They won't do that.
That team last year at one point was the most deplorable football team in the history of the NFL. Remember when we were talking about the tank for Tua? At the beginning of the run, in their first 7 games, they were getting outscored by opponents by 30 points a game in the NFL, and their spreads were getting set at 21 points in the NFL. I mean, that's like when Vanderbilt plays against one of the big dogs of the SEC on the road. That's what they were getting every week in the NFL. So they made a run, and yes, once again, a little salty. They beat my Pats when I was on a plane flying back from my grandmother's funeral, and you were the first to text. Thank you. You held back on the Titans today. I'll give you that. I'll give you the credit. As the rest of the world, and have fun with it. The good and the bad. We got to laugh, just like everybody else.
I actually lost my phone dancing around. Sorry.
When UCF won our fake national title, when we won a real national title in cheerleading, everybody had to deal with it. So I understand, balance of powers. But I do have to say, though, to this, Belichick's going to be okay either way. That division right now with the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bills, I'm not buying into this whole Bills as they're making that run to win it all. Remember, they lost Shaq Lawson. They lost a couple key players on defense. At the same time, we have seen the NFL give us a couple of those, sprinkle in a little food for the fish, but that doesn't mean you're bringing in the big eaters. The great whites are coming into town. You might get those catfish coming up to the water that you're feeding at one of those old shack restaurants that people, oh, look at that. Look at the tarpon down at the Keys. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't always work where you're going to get that big, huge fish coming in and just going for the crush. Now, tarpon are huge, so that validate the point.
I don't think the Bills, I don't think they're really big consideration for the Super Bowl. I think it's just division for them because you have to remember who's also in the AFC. For the Bills, yeah, you can win the division. That's great, but that's about as far as they can go. And you still have Josh Allen at quarterback, and I'm not buying Josh Allen. I think he's good. I hope he gets better. Listen, I'm not a guy that wants guys to go out and just do terrible. Because the better teams are, the more fun it is to watch every single game, and we don't have those dud games. That's why, as crazy as it was, it was funny because it was the Pats, but the Dolphins beating the Pats like that threw such a loop for everything for people, including you. A big loop for you, because I had texted you before and said you guys snuck through this one because you had scored, and I thought, okay, it's over. There's no way the Dolphins are going to come down and do what they did. And then that's when I sent you the other text, like, never mind. And that's all I said. No, but I think it's look, you root for those teams. That's why when you look at the 14-team playoff, I think it's so interesting just because now you're adding another team in there, and a team that is, no matter if they're 8-8 or 9-7 or whatever, once you make it to the playoffs, we've seen in baseball, anything can happen. So I think that's the interesting part in all this. And I don't know. I mean, for the Bills, you're right. They've lost some key pieces. They've gotten a guy like Stephon Diggs will help them. They had John Brown was their top receiver, and he looked like a stud out there because he was basically the only thing. But I don't know. I think that for a team like the Bills, the sky is basically winning that division. And that would be tough because Miami's going to be a lot better than what people think. I'm not saying Miami's going to win it, but what if Miami, with the pieces they've already gotten, and we know, say, we most likely Ryan Fitzpatrick will start, but what if Tua goes out? If they get Tua, or what if here's the kicker, what if they really do trade up to number 1 to get Joe Burrow? Now you're talking about Miami as a serious threat in that division. Not saying serious threat for Super Bowl, but they did get some big pieces here. So Miami's moving a lot quicker than what we thought. And if they can trade up to get Joe Burrow, this could all happen a lot faster.
In football, we've had classes, and it rotates up and down, but really you have that division where it's how bad are we going to suck so we can go ahead and invest in the future with another number 1 pick that we'll probably fail at. And that zone of teams, if we were having like classes of people back in the Renaissance where you had your jesters, and that's where I would have been no matter what. And then you have your kings, you have your peasants, you have all these people. But you know that you're pretty much your peasants of the league, and someone's going to be offended by this, but that's where you're at, have been, the teams like Washington, Cincinnati, Miami, the New York Jets, the New York Giants, Oakland Raiders over the last couple of years.
Cleveland.
Cleveland has made a push to get away, but they get
past
pulled
few
back.
years,
You're right, though. You're right. But then there's the untrusted zone. Like they want to be royalty, but the next day they could be homeless on the streets. And that's been the Jacksonville Jags. They've had they're one pass away from the Super Bowl, and then they're not even close to the playoffs and tanking. The Bears, never know what they're going to do. Rams have been that. They made a good push, but they have not been that. Tennessee, I'm sorry, but you guys have been that team, the untrusted zone. Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Dallas. Dallas has been closer to that level, but I'm putting them there because they didn't make the postseason last year when it was handed to them on a silver platter. Then you have we expect them to be their zone. And Dallas would be the one that you could sort of give a wild card because most people around the country expect them to be there. They just have failed a lot of times. That next zone is New Orleans, Green Bay, Kansas City, New England, Minnesota, Seattle, usually Pittsburgh. Outside of, if Big Ben doesn't get hurt, it's still going to be Pittsburgh. And then there's teams like Houston that we expect with Watson lately, but they're still in that unfriend zone. And then lately with San Francisco, now that we know how good they are defensively. But they used to be back in the peasants group. So that's sort of the classifications of the NFL. So regardless of who they have at quarterback going into the season things, our brains will put us to that point because we're so used to seeing them at that level. And it's hard sometimes when they do fall to another zone because we go, well, crap. Like Baltimore was always, and they still are now, one of those teams at the top. But they had those couple bad years with Flacco when they went 7-9, and it was confusing. Like, why is Baltimore bad? They're not supposed to be like this. Denver took us a while to adjust that Denver wasn't going to be a playoff team. It's like, come on, man. What the heck? Took us a while to adjust that Kansas City was going to be really good. San Francisco is going to be really good. There are those teams that always seem to be there no matter what. Like in Major League Baseball, you expect teams like, regardless of their roster, you expect the St. Louis Cardinals. You expect a team every single year, regardless of the rosters, New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, teams that are always going to fight to win that division. Same thing I would say in basketball, we know those teams as well. They're always going to be the San Antonio Spurs. Even though they had a bad year, you expect them to be there. Teams like that always are there. And frankly, I think that we need to realize at this point, looking at that list, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty this year in the shakeup at quarterback and what teams are ready this year. So I'm not ready to say at this point, when we jump right back into that, that New England's out of it. Because deeming Buffalo is still, we're so used to, they're not in that class yet. They're in that middle group. They're with the Rams and the Bears and the teams like that. We're good for you for making it, but I'm not ready to put you in that category.
Well, I think Super Bowl-wise, you could easily just about say that because, I think you could say that. And that's for Tennessee. Tennessee is not a Super Bowl caliber team. Now, if you get a Tom Brady, it can change a lot of things because Tom Brady makes everybody better. But I think, for your division, sure, you don't want to count them out. I get that because you have no idea what your division's going to be. But to call them the potential Super Bowl, to make it to the Super Bowl with what's in that AFC right now, it's tremendous. It's a gauntlet in its own. And that's where even I look with Tennessee. For Tennessee to be serious this year, you're putting a lot on Ryan Tannehill because, Derrick Henry's back, but Derrick Henry's been there. And we've been mediocre every year. Tannehill was the difference maker, setting it over the top. Now, I'm not saying Jarrett Stidham is not the incumbent, but what I am saying is it's going to be interesting because I go back to this and continue to go back to this. People are forgetting the biggest problem in New England is not the quarterback. It's you better find a wide receiver and you better find a tight end that can go catch a pass down the middle of the field because without that, with all due respect, Tom Brady is one of the greatest to ever do it. And if he can't get that team over the hump, I'm just not believing. I don't care if he's 43 years old or not. It's still Tom Brady. I just can't buy it that a Jarrett Stidham or somebody is going to be that. They have to go out and get some help. And that's why when I look in the draft here, seeing they're going after a safety because they don't know if Devin McCourty's going to come back, I can't imagine them going after anything other than some wide receiver help to start off with because this draft is not littered with big tight ends like last year. But they have to go find some offensive help because if you want Jarrett Stidham to last, you want to give him success.
Call him by his real name.
Got it, by the way. The incumbent.
The incumbent.
The incumbent.
Coming back for more. When we come back, we'll talk some more. NCAA has extended the right now dead period for recruiting until May 31st. That's not good. You can still make texts. If they don't have one star five-star with Ed O, Jim Harbaugh, and Nick Saban on the same Zoom together, Facebook Live in it, then what are we doing right now? Who would not watch that? And they all have to look. The ball's in their hands. The Dylan Moseses of the world, they get to make the announcement where they go. How cool would that be? All right, coach, got Ed O, we got Saban, and we got Jim Harbaugh. This is all raw. Two of them, and they do it at 2 a.m. Wake them up. Man, I'm 67. I don't want to get out of bed. What is this right now? Get them. All right, hey guys, it's me, that guy you've been working the last 4 months. You landed the chopper on my high school field. Hey, get ready for this. Coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, Dilly Dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Introducing a new podcast, ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Mina Kimes. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you.
The best sports story all day, 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
ESPN Daily. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Wasn't a bad chicken sandwich ad that was about to pop up, but, you know. There it is.
You can hear
right
about
there.
it if you want. I mean, the fish sandwich there, mix
2
and
for
match.
$3 crispy fish. That's
say
what people
where.
look. If you want to stay healthy, people, $2, 2 for $3 crispy fish sandwiches is the way to go out of a box. That's
You won't last long.
It'd be a horrible reality show, but this is where my brain goes. Like some of their, no, I'm not even.
Isn't that Super Size Me? Is that basically the same concept?
No, go with a guy in their 60s that has the corona. Versus somebody that's doing nothing but 2 for $3 fish sandwiches there. You have to do it for 3 weeks.
2 for 3
see which
goes
one comes
first.
back on the other side, healthier from the But let's go to didn't name the business. Looking right now at Wimbledon canceled for the first time since World War II. That stinks. And I watch Wimbledon. Really, when it comes to tennis in the States, and a lot of my family members grew up on tennis. When we were younger, when we were kids, Jimmy Connors. When you had Andre Agassi, Ivan Lendl, when you had guys like, I remember even, Jim Courier, Michael Chang, all those guys. And then obviously McEnroe. Before that, it was the days, I mean, you go back to Bjorn Borg and all the people that played in, and even on the other side, a lot of people would sit and watch a full Anna Kournikova match. I know I did it multiple times. Really like tennis.
Yep, bet you did. Bet that's why you watched it.
Really like tennis.
Yep.
Maria Sharapova, really like tennis. But overall, I remember watching these, once again, an Anna Kournikova match, and I would enjoy. I'd be enthralled by the Wimbledon match. What was happening on the court?
Yeah.
Monica Seles, like how many kids? This might be a good thing. Like how many kids at the age of 9 or 10 watched tennis, maybe in their room, and their parents ran in and be like, "Hey, son, do I have to have that conversation now? What you up to over there?"
Yikes.
And be like, "Dad, I'm watching tennis." No, is that what we're calling it? Is that what the kids are calling it? All I heard was, I mean, that's a Monica Seles matchup for you. Have you ever?
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
I can guarantee it. You want me to play a match when we come back?
No, I do not. I do not. I want to move on to other things. Hey, how about Oregon getting Boston College transfer quarterback? Boy, that just makes me not get up out of my seat.
No, that's not. It's like Vanderbilt. Mike Leach, who is known as like the quarterback genius, got Vanderbilt's backup last year. Hey.
Yeah, but he also got Costello, so he's good. He needed a practice quarterback.
It's down 31-7 at half to UCF. We'll see where that goes. We're coming back for more. That's a perfect time to end, and we'll come back from the break.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Shouldn't be as hard for everybody to stop what you're doing right now and listen, but Antonio Brown back in the news, working with Lamar on some throwing drills. Is he accurate enough? 6 feet away? Separation? We'll see.
Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmitt Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast on Blab TV. Look, we're moving everything back in sports. I had an idea. Just throwing this out here. It's probably sitting around with Miss Claus anyway. Why don't we move up holidays like Christmas? Come on now. Everybody's with family. It's the most you're ever going to get to see your family for Christmas. Let's make it happen. You already got the tree. Some people are so lazy they still have the tree up and lights from back in December. Come on, let's make a petition right now. Let's get Christmas
Can't get
going,
the gifts.
so we can at least. Well, Amazon's still working, right? Still.
I don't know. Their people walked out.
Did they really?
Yeah, their workers walked out. So if you're not getting that package in 2 days, then
that's true.
Maybe a reason behind it.
I got you some leaves from the backyard. Did I see the lawn man working back there? I don't want to touch that. Give me the hand sanitizer. A lot of hand sanitizer and wipes. I got you toilet paper. Dad, that's just because BJ's won't take your return and you got 8,000 rolls.
I actually got toilet paper the other day.
Did you really?
It's crazy. And I felt horrible because, places like that, all they have is the giant things.
That's usually when you use toilet paper is when your stomach doesn't feel good. Oh, you meant
30,
felt horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 36 roll, I want to be like, hey, is there a smaller one? The lady goes, nope, this is all they're sending us now. And I was like, so picking it up, everybody running up there to get it. And I'm like, look, you guys can have it if you need it. That's fine. Getting all the dirty looks.
I wonder if people are getting.
So if you need some, I got some, by the way. So just let me know.
One of the most dishonest places is front doors at big nightclubs for people getting in. In Vegas, I worked with one. And I honestly, just saying this, I try to live life as somebody that obeys most of the rules. That was a very broad term. But I'm not going to take. I'm not going to steal. I never have stolen. And somebody right there was, one of the guys at the front door. You can be like, hey, you and your lady here, I know you're trying to show off on that date. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Usher's in there. He's inside there. Give me $100 right here. I'll get you to the front line. And next thing you know, he was. And this guy would leave with wads of money. And we could tell when this guy was, gypping everybody at the front door and costing everybody else and putting us at risk. But I will have to say, I wonder if people at like Georgia Pacific and some of these companies, like Georgia Paper and these places, like were doing that with toilet paper, like coming through, like Charmin, like coming through the guy in the assembly line, like Martha, I know you've worked here 30 years. Your family still lives in Sheboygan, but I got to say, can I check your pockets? Please don't do that. It's just rolls of toilet paper under there. I need my family with. Martha, we're letting you go. Sorry. We appreciate it, but that's way too much Charmin. We don't have time for this. Let's go to the phone lines. 850-623-1330. Caller, who's this?
This is Jeff from Pensacola, Florida.
I just want to say, Chad, if you want to watch when you get home, about an hour into it, or maybe you'll be in the door about 30 minutes, they have on the SEC Network, which will be 77 for Cox, if that's what you have. They have the Gators football playing at Kentucky. I think the game was a 2:30 game. I think, if I remember correctly, it was on CBS. And this is the game, and whatever. But it's on from 6 to 9. And I'm going to watch a little bit of that tonight. And I'm also going to watch the Magic, the one win they got against the Heat. I'm going to watch the Rays tonight and stuff. And so that'll be pretty cool and stuff. I'm I'm doing okay with it. I'm very frustrated, but I understand it's for the right thing. It's very hard. I walk every day. I walk about 50 miles a month and stuff. And if you really want a good diet, I would recommend 98 ounces of water a day with a 54 ounce and a 33, and cut the meals down to about 3 meals a day. And the other thing is, and I'll make it quick, measure about 2 cups of cereal, 2 cups of milk, and then maybe just have a cheese sandwich for lunch, and then just measure out the calories. But just want to say thank you, Chad. Enjoy the platform. Have a good day, and, well, go night, Chad. Have a good day.
You have a great day, Jeff. What a call right there. I want a little synopsis of that call right there. Just got a breakdown of all the games, and I'm actually, because of that, this is not the right channel. This is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I don't know why. Okay, so, by the way, did you see Regis was on TV yesterday?
I did see that.
He's moving up there. Huge Notre Dame fan. But this is the game that he was talking about right here. Thank you, Jeff.
It all goes down.
This is when
the Gator season changes.
This is where my soothsaying, like I said, I don't want to boast too much, but for years I'd been screaming on top of a mountain. I actually did that one time. They had to arrest me. But Felipe Franks should not be a quarterback.
Let me stop
Felipe Franks should not be the starting quarterback.
You were on top of a mountain with about 500,000 people.
Well, I agree. I was not by myself. I agree this was not
everybody had been saying.
But Jeffrey D will say on this, and Jeffrey D has put me in my place more times than I put Jeffrey D in his place. And I didn't put him in this place here. I want to make that clear. But what I said was, this from about a year and a half ago when he first started, when people were watching Felipe Franks, not recently when he played against Miami. Really, a lot of people jumped on that huge wagon after Miami. And people were real excited after Michigan. Davis and Jordan from here went to that game at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, and people were like, all right, he's starting to roll. And I was like, Michigan did not care about that game, and Felipe Franks is okay, but he was made to look good against a secondary that did not want to be out there. They were a much better team with Trask, and when he got put in this game, I did make this call too. A lot of people had a couple cold ones that day, but I was there at the Northwest Florida Gator Club group at Seville when they were standing there. Allen, Shane Rowe, a lot of good people. We were standing around, Wes, all the guys, and we were watching the game. And Bob, I remember sitting like yesterday, and they were down by 10. And when he came into the game, Kyle Trask came into the game, I said, Gators are going to win this game. And it wasn't one of those, like, Gators are going to win now. Like, I said, look, Gators are going to win this football game now. Watch. And it wasn't easy, but they did win.
To be fair, it's Kentucky. I mean, let's not make it like they upset Alabama with Trask. No, but here's the thing: is I'm still standing by my statement of 500,000 people on a mountain.
You are right.
Even after that, people were like, "Listen, we're not fooled by Trask. We understand what's going on here. We have got to move on. We have got to get through this."
I will give more credit to a million, probably plus. I would hope everybody with eyes was saying we have to move on from Felipe Franks. I'm different. That was rude to somebody out there like, I can't watch the game you son. But I will say, though, to me it was more about the Kyle Trask call. A lot of people didn't know. They were just like, put anybody on the field besides Felipe Franks. But I had watched enough from Kyle Trask to say, Kyle Trask is going to be good. A lot of people didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody agreed. And we didn't know enough about Trask.
Where did you? I'm about to say
spring game, Friday night. It was a Friday night, and that's why I got to watch it.
I don't know. A lot of guys.
I was actually in the middle of calling a high school football game while I watched it. That's what I did.
Joe Burrow looked fantastic in Ohio State spring game.
Listen, I could tell the tools, they were there. There was something about it. I'm just saying.
Not buying it.
Well, you don't have to buy it. We can go back to the archives. We can spend hours afterwards.
I'm not buying that. That was a spring game that you were like, this guy.
I didn't say this is the moment. I just said he should have been the starter a long time ago. It was confusing. And, no, this is not one of these monumentous calls. Me calling Vanderbilt over LSU or me calling,
turned out Vanderbilt actually had a pretty good end of their season.
Well, yes, but at that time they had not won a game in 2 years in the SEC.
Yeah, but okay, all right. You make that call, but then you lose the Boise State game. And
I make some hideous calls. Listen, the one thing you know from us working together over the years.
Tell you something my father said. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every
Listen.
once in a while.
First off, we both know that we both have enough. One of the reasons why you are the co-host, and I respect you just as much, and probably more people listening like, I respect this guy, not that guy. But one thing I'll say is we both have sports knowledge. We both know the game. If someone really wants to call in right now and try to test the waters with players, we can play this game because we've been down it. I'll give you $50 on the spot right now. If last year you name the position and you name a team in baseball. Like I said, I've not studied this in years. We don't have baseball.
I already did this and I won.
No, you did not.
But
you went down to no, you did not. No.
He didn't play
you don't get
all
to
the
say
games.
you went with like second string offensive tackle. That's not how it works.
No.
You just say
I did baseball
twin
player.
shortstop. You just any team in any position right now.
Nope, I did baseball, and the guy didn't play all the games.
This right now what you're doing is if Trump does something good, you're just being like, you're deflecting. I'm giving you a chance right now with nothing to it.
First off,
you don't get any money.
Put me in that situation.
You don't
know
get
better than that.
You don't get any. I am not asking you for anything outside of I will give you $50.
I pulled it off last time, and you didn't come through. So, I'm not trusting you.
You have nothing to lose. There's no silver lining.
I'm not playing your game. That's it.
Well, then this is a perfect $50. The point here, the moral of the story is we know a lot more than sports that we get to on this show. And we do understand. So I didn't make a monumentous call because Felipe Franks actually got hurt. He didn't get pulled, and I wish him the best. He's from McCullough. He's not far from here, and his family probably is trying to find my address. That's some of the comments I've made over the last 3 years. But I do have to say,
I'm pretty sure they would agree.
And Franks would beat the crap out of him. He's a big dude. Good at Hail Marys. And he's a Red Sox, too, now. So, I mean, shoot. I got to be kind.
Have him. You can have him.
But I do have to say, though, that Kyle Trask gives them a legit shot next year to win the SEC. Think about it. The SEC, and why I'm saying that is Jake Fromm, the three big hitters in front of him. Tua, Joe Burrow, number one, obviously. Tua and Jake Fromm, the three that clearly were ahead of him. Remember, they beat Patrick Nixon Auburn in a grinder in the Swamp last year. But those are the three teams that were ahead of them last year. All three of them lost their main guys. So next year, you can make the case that the best quarterback returning in the SEC is Kyle Trask. Yes, you can. 100%. You can make that case.
Fine. That's
with
your opinion.
Jamie Newman, KJ Costello.
Well,
who's
but
the
here's
best?
the thing, though. So, and this is. I'm not saying you're not right, but I'm not going to fully agree on this because there's a lot to be said. Look, Mac Jones at Alabama is going to have star receivers around him. The Gators have depth at receiver, but they don't necessarily have the playmakers that we think. Now, a lot can change in all this because these guys that the Gators are coming back with, we don't know what they are. We're not sure. They could be just as good. But we know there's 2 first-rounders sitting over there with Alabama. So even if Mac Jones is coming back, or Mac Jones is the guy, which we're not sure what's going to happen with that whole situation, I'm assuming Mac Jones will probably be the starting quarterback, and Mac Jones looked really good. We have to remember that too. Mac Jones, with his stats, with his games that he played, he actually had more passes down the field than Tua did into a season in his few games. So we have to remember that. When you look at other guys, Jamie Newman, everybody is saying, I'm a naysayer on this too because I want to make people pump the brakes before we crown a guy a champion. But Jamie Newman, everybody loves him. They said he's the real deal. Todd Monken coming in, that's going to make a real difference. But they lost a lot of receivers, so that's where I'm kind of hesitant on that. Now you look at LSU. I don't think LSU. Look, they're going to be good, but who's to say whatever that's going to happen with that situation? They have a lot to replace, and I know they've done a good job. I know the quarterback there is a guy a lot of people like, but he's not going to be a Joe Burrow. Nobody is going to be a Joe Burrow. Nobody is going to be a Tua. But if I look at somebody and I want to say this, I'm not saying Kyle Trask can't be, but I want people to slow down on this. So slow down for all these guys. If anything, if I had to pick one right now that I had more belief in, that could have a bigger year, I'm going to go Mac Jones. And it's nothing against Kyle Trask, but I believe Mac Jones is going to have more pieces around him. That's the reason I think he's going to have more success. I think he is a guy that is underrated, and he's been behind Tua, and he's going to be compared to Tua, but he's not the same type of quarterback. Mac Jones is a guy that can throw the football just as good as anybody else out there. For Trask,
yeah.
I don't know. I think Trask, This is his first year stepping in. It's a great story. I hope the guy goes out, and I hope he is the best guy because I root for him. I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm not a Florida fan, but I like the story with Kyle Trask. I want guys like that to succeed. There's so many questions we don't know with the Gators yet.
Well, we don't know if there's going to be a season. I mean, there's so many questions we don't. Yeah, I mean,
but I think with the depth, Florida has a lot of depth, and that can work out really well. But it's, this whole thing that I'm reading articles about now. Oh, year 3 for Florida coaches, they always have a downturn. I think that's crap because I think you have Dan Mullen now. You can't compare Dan Mullen to these other bozo the clowns that you've had in there before. I think he has built the program up 10, 11 wins now. And look, they still have to get past Georgia. Like, Georgia seems to do this every single year. They can beat a team like Florida when Florida looks like this is a game they can win. And I don't know. It's hard for me to buy that right now. I like the Kyle Trask hype.
You do understand I was born hyphen, right? Muschamp McElwain? That was a very disrespectful comment that you just made a few seconds ago.
I will stand by that.
You know what? All right.
I will stand by it.
I'll stand in front of you in a couple seconds here. 6 feet. Get your bat out. Looking, though, at the I will say, though, first off, if you had both those people as dads, it'd be creepy. And then second part would be, you would don't ask somebody who a Padawan or anything about sharks to that family. Don't bring either of those up during Thanksgiving.
Sharks are the way to go.
I do have to say, though, I understand what you're saying. I'm not ready to deem Florida. Florida was not. We said that against Georgia. They weren't at the level of Georgia.
Look at what's around them. That's what I'm going to say here is when you look at Mac Jones, he has 2 first-round receivers, and they're going to be reloading on that offense.
And LaMichael Pirines, a big loss. He was good. He was better than I think people were giving him credit.
I actually think they have more depth at running back now because they're more versatile, where Pirine, he was a versatile guy. And listen, I coached against the guy when he was in high school. We're getting to watch him at Theodore. The dude was a stud. He was averaging 280, 300 yards a game, and every team loaded. And remember, Theodore plays in that 6 and 7A. Like, they're not playing the 2As and things like that, no disrespect. I played in that. I get that. But they're playing some of the monsters over there toward Mobile, and these guys can't stop them. You can load the box. I remember watching Blunt and all these teams load the box against them, and Blunt had some dang sure athletes over there, and they couldn't do nothing with him. I'm not downplaying LaMichael Pirine, but what I'm saying is it's just hard for me right now, until I see what depth. See, here's the thing. This is what kills all this. We're not getting a chance to see these guys in spring. We're not getting a chance to see Jacob Copeland with the Gators now get his shot to be out there on the field full time and what they're going to be, what that offense is going to look like, how Dan Mullen has expanded, how Kyle Trask has grown. I believe Kyle Trask is going to be good because Dan Mullen's like a quarterback whisperer, but at the same time, you almost have to go with your gut if you're talking about it right now for Mac Jones.
Yeah.
How do you go against a guy? Because even if he's very mediocre, even if Mike Jones is a mediocre quarterback, which he's obviously not, but you got 2 first-round receivers over there. How do you go against that guy?
Well, on the other side, though, I think, Kyle, if people that watched the Florida Gators, Florida was a very diverse group. They had about 6 or 7 guys that got the ball on each one of them. One day it would be Hammond. The next day you would have, Grimes. You had Kadarius Toney at the beginning. He had more touches and then didn't. I thought he was a stud from an athlete, but he didn't obviously work out somehow. Something happened because he didn't get his touches anymore. But Kyle Pitts, I think, is a guy, you look at what Moss did this year, Thaddeus Moss did LSU, and what a guy like, what we saw from someone like Fatah the year before and some of these guys that went out there. I think that you're looking at a guy that could be something special. I think he's a first-round tight end. Tight ends are getting more important in the game if you look at Baltimore and some of the guys.
That's New England.
But Kyle Pitts is coming back. Trayvon Grimes is coming back. And then they did bring there's another Pouncey brother that exists. I'm not sure if they're related, but he's transferring in at wide receiver. Jordan, I believe.
I think Emory Jones, by the way, speaking of Florida, Emory Jones is a guy that's not getting a lot of talk. I think that is a tremendous asset they have, and Dan Mullen has to use him because he's like a utility knife in a guy of it can do a lot of things for you. I'm not saying him being the quarterback. I don't expect him to be the quarterback, but using him in another way because he is a pure athlete.
When we come back, I want to get back into the conversation because what I saw from Florida last year and when I went home for Thanksgiving, growing up in a family of all Florida Gators, I watch a lot of the Gator games and I still pay attention. A lot of our close friends are Gator fans, and out of all the clubs that they're in the area, I love going down there to Seville and watching the games of these guys, and that's where Florida State is too. So I got to speak with both of those clubs, David Forte and Alan Nicholson, the presidents of both clubs. We appreciate it. And then they had their real guest speakers, which were Pat Dooley and Ira Schofel. But I was the guy that introduced it. Was out of breath one time. I literally ran because my car was getting downtown parking. Just be careful there. Trying to put a boot. So I ran in front, then was out of breath when I got on stage.
Are they essential? The boot people?
Apparently.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, apparently they are these days. So I wouldn't take that risk to see if they are.
That's what I'm saying. All you got to do is park there and step away, and you'll see them drive up. That's how you know.
Get in the boot. Coming back for more, I'm going to break down, though, why I saw something that I want to tell everybody about. And kids, you don't have to cover your ears.
Show.
Kids don't have to cover their ears.
Family show.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. 17 million kids in America struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Look, chicken restaurants are nothing new. But if you're saying, been there, done that, it tastes like chicken. Well, if your friends offer you a brand new convertible or a broken down station wagon with 3 wheels, do you say, hey, they're both cars? Well, the people have spoken. Mr. Pollo on 9th Avenue was voted top 100 places to eat in the country by Yelp at number 61. Making chicken great again, America. It's that good. Try it and you'll be hooked for life. The freshest ingredients and the perfect catering for any big party. Mr. Pollo. It means chicken.
JP here with Talk Football and the Sports Drive. This is a different time for all of us, and for some, it's extremely tough right now. All of us here at ESPN Pensacola want to send a shout out to all our first responders and healthcare workers right now. We appreciate all the work that you do day in and day out, but right now we know you are all working harder than ever to help all of us get through this to beat COVID-19. If you see someone or know someone who is a first responder or healthcare worker, don't shake their hand, but let them know you appreciate them. Remember, a kind word goes a long way.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats, I'm JP. 7 baseball players who have been struck out by Nolan Ryan had sons who grew up to also get struck out by Nolan Ryan. Like father, like son. Joe Gibbs is the only coach to win the Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks. Mickey Mantle was originally a shortstop, but after making 102 errors in his last 2 seasons in the minors, he was moved to the outfield. Starting in 1990, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls never had a 3-game losing streak for 8 years. That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats. I'm JP.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
Early Monday morning to Friday at 5, man, I work, but I don't climb. Boss man can shove that overtime up his can. All I wanna do is put a drink in my hand. To fill it up, I'll throw it down.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. Right now, Florida and Kentucky battling out the SEC network. A lot of fun games have been on. I enjoy watching sports. Obviously, that's why we got into this business. But I have to say, I can only watch so much of a game I've seen unless it's a game that has so much interest. Like, clearly all of us, we could sit down and have a couple brewskis together 6 feet away in our own home. Maybe Facebook Live chat. I know I've invited you last couple nights and watch reruns of UCF and Auburn in the Peach Bowl. Now, that game, apparently, you guys have not returned my call. But there's certain games people can watch a lot of. And there's others I'll watch, but I can't watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the thrill of sports. The biggest thing is the intrigue of the unknown. And
it's not fun to me to watch
the same game
unless
over.
something crazy happened.
And you haven't seen it in a while, yeah.
I don't like this, with the Florida Kentucky. I don't want to watch this because I don't like watching guys get hurt. And I don't know. It's weird.
I would almost, and this would take way too much time because I know how much time it takes to produce things, or how much time it takes for people. Like JP's he's been doing a great job, by the way, of doing these This Day in Sports History and all this on this. He's taking it, taking the bull by the horns, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Bull did not like that.
No, he did not, by the way. And then Jackie Sherrill came in and it got ugly. But I will say, you look right now at what people just like, hey, that these things take one or two of those with the research and some of that stuff, can take a couple hours to put together. Production on TV. These crews at ESPN, they've got teams of 20, 30 people working on these games. That's why if you've ever watched the end of a Thanksgiving on CBS or Fox,
it takes 10 minutes.
It takes 10 minutes with the families. That is how many people are working on that one football game. And it's like, what, 50, 60? It's like 100 at least on that.
Yep.
Some people only get the credits at the end. And there's always that one in memory of the guy. You're like, oh, crap, man. I didn't know that guy, but it stinks. But you always get that with that. You know how many people it takes to produce. It would be way better. I would love a network right now that went just complete cojones to the walls of making nothing but the best moments from those games. Like, not watch the Michigan State game because I don't want to see that whole thing, but just that 2 or 3 minute clip of them on that final drive before he throws it up in the air and the guy runs it back. Now, you get those on YouTube. You go to best plays of all time on YouTube.
Yeah.
We used to run them all the time on the Sports Drive with, while we're talking about it. But if you had a network that went if this game went to the final drive, took us directly to the moment where Kyle Trask takes over the game and comes in, I'd watch the last 5 minutes. But I'm not going to watch this whole game. You know what I'm saying? It just takes you the best moments of each one. They're trying to cut through the commercials and pitches. Baseball, they're going right to the next pitch. I like what they're doing. I respect the heck out of it, but it would be fun to watch 2019's football season. Remember the good old days? 2019's football season, nothing but the best moments and drives instead of having to watch the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
By the way, on this, we haven't even mentioned that the Kentucky quarterback is Sawyer Smith.
No, it is.
our hometown. Right, I
know. Well, he lost. We didn't win it, but he did. He battled out from Troy. He had a good. He looked. That Dollar General Bowl against Buffalo took him out right there. Over the top pass. Made us proud. Got a chance at Kentucky. It didn't work out for the best, but he was solid. I think Lynn Bowden and the way they went with a completely different scheme. But Bowden, I think, he is the most one-dimensional quarterback in the history of the game. He's just damn good at that one thing. It's hard to even – I watched that whole Virginia Tech game when they played in the bowl. I think it was the Belk Bowl. But we're watching that, and they knew exactly. Bud Foster, who's a very innovative mind. It's his last year. He retired. Good time to retire. But Bud Foster, he knew.
He tried.
I mean, he tried, and Lynn Bowden still would run a 30, 40-yard touchdown.
Reading the scouts' reports on him, by the way, they said this is the sneakiest guy in the draft because he can do anything. He's strong. He's versatile. He can play any position. They said he could even go play defense if he needed him to. And he's a heck of a special teams guy in their mind and when they look at it. I think
talking about Lynn Bowden.
Yeah,
he's
this guy's going to be.
He's a heck of an athlete.
He's going to sneak on an NFL team and he's going to have success and be in the league for a while.
Any guy that is going to run a QB sneak and he still finds a way to get 10 yards.
Well, in the Virginia Tech game, he was telling the guys come out for Kentucky and were saying he was even yelling at him you know what I'm fixing to do, try and stop me. And running right through him. And a guy that does that, I've been on the other side playing defense against a running back that said, you know what's fixing to happen, and that guy was Trent Richardson, and it didn't work out very well. I mean, guys like that have that type of confidence and can back it up, they're scary.
Toughest guy you ever played against in each sport? Did you play against somebody at every level that went on to the next level?
Yeah. I think, of course, Trent was really good, but in basketball, I don't even know this guy. I know he went on and he played in like Serbia or Slovakia or something. He was just transferred from Serbia, and he was on some little travel team or whatever. Anyway, this guy.
This is getting way too ignorant
no,
for
I
this
know.
show. How dare you? I'm just
6'8". I mean, just dominant. Couldn't speak English or anything.
This is a very PC show. If you can keep.
And we had played this team before, and we were just. You know what? There was. Nah, I'm not getting into that. Anyway, baseball. Well, it was just about anybody that played for Catholic or anything like that. Wes McGarian was actually. I know John McGarian. He owns a business here as well, and he coached with LSU. But his son Wes played at Catholic, and we played travel ball together growing up. So when we played against each other in high school, Wes hit me, and Wes threw about 95, and me and Wes didn't see eye to eye on everything. But when he hit me with that 95, I respected the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Because getting hit with 95 is not fun. And anyway, Wes went on to play, and he played for the Blue Wahoos for a little bit.
Nice. We played when we played over at he played on my travel ball team for a little while, but that was in and out. But we'd go up against Prince Fielder. That was not fun. I think Prince Fielder at one point was the best hitter in Major League Baseball when he was on the Brewers that year, and his swing, he still sets. It's like Gary. There's certain people that have a swing where they hit the ball and it's gone. He has one of those swings. Like Cody Bellinger, he is like 8 times the morph. Like if you have to pick, you on like a video game, more people are playing video games now. You can pick girth and size of like the athlete, like strong, portly, like that. Prince Fielder is just the morph-sized body of a Cody Bellinger, his swing. But every one of his swings would just be, even if it's a pop-up to shortstop, it looks like it's going 450. But Prince hit a few balls in high school that clearly were going 450. And parking lots in high school baseball are really suited to not smash a window in your car past like 330, 340. And he was crushing cars. We always made sure to park, he was a left-handed hitter too, so we would park way out, like way on yonder, like the neighbor's ranch when he would play us, knowing that one of our car windows would get broken.
Playing another guy that I can't believe I even forgot it, right here with from Gulf Breeze, Ben Lively.
That's right. UCF Knight. That's the
main
main part of the story.
He was really good in high school, but he wasn't a guy that, looking at him, and even coaches were like, well, this guy's good. He's a good
lively
high school
fastball.
Pitcher. But when he went to UCF, he took off. Like, he grew. And that's
what happens.
I'm telling you. And watching that guy, I was watching him on TV. I was like, oh, Lively's he's the probable starter. Watching him, I was like, this is not the same guy.
So he was the reverse of my pitching career at UCF.
Yes.
It went the other way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, okay, I was going to say, if we balance the powers, we come to an average pitcher there. It's true. Taking the two of us, one average pitcher.
It's awfully nice.
Awfully nice. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for sharing all your accolades with me there, because I've just taken you.
Just drug you down now.
The Bengals and the Chiefs make an average team in the NFL.
So you're now the Cleveland Browns. Congratulations.
You just have to pick which one was the Bengals.
Or I can't say
Could be
Tampa
clear
Bay
to you.
Can't say the Bucks anymore because they have Tom Brady.
By the way, on this note, you have a very nice top 10 of the most. Listen, this is not for off air. No, you kidding me? A lot of things I forget about, but on this.
This is the and this came out today, Bleacher Report, of course.
Appreciate the research on this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's all I do now is just read articles. I haven't read in a while. The 10 most hostile environments for college football teams. The honorable mentions, of course. And this is kind of, I guess it's, whatever. Michigan Stadium for the Wolverines.
What, the Big House?
The Big House. It's honorable mention. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I know. Look, some of these on here I disagree. I disagree. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
Who made this list,
me?
by the way?
I don't know. Bleacher Report. It's their thing.
Yeah.
But Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I went to the Florida LSU game a few years ago. You're talking about a game in September. It's unbelievable. And if you've never been to the Swamp, you understand once you go there in September why it's called the Swamp.
Oh, I've watched.
It's
I've probably been to 20. I'd say 20 to 25 games at Florida Stadium, and every one has been rocking.
Everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, and with the heat and everything and the fans and just how intense it is. And Tebow was at the game
now,
as well.
This was also when – this was during like the 2005 to 2010 time I went to most of those games. And that was when they were in their heyday, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean –
Doak Campbell Stadium, Florida State. Like, I remember that. It's down. Is
that honorable
now.
mention?
Yeah, it's honorable mention.
So what you're getting at to this point is so far Florida and Florida State are honorable mention. Now let's get to the top 10 then. Let's go right to it.
One more honorable mention.
Okay.
Bill Snyder Stadium with Kansas State. It's always, people out in the middle of nowhere. That's good for them.
By the way, I'm not a writer for Bleacher Report. I want to make this clear before this is mentioned.
Number 10.
Here we go.
All right.
Well, where did that music come from?
Imagine that. Central Florida Spectrum Stadium.
Oh.
UCF made the top 10. I can't. Look, they're talking about their 13-0 season. They play so well there. The fans get rocking. All this, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going into detail with that. So UCF has made the top 10. There you go, Chad. You made the top 10. You don't deserve to be the champion. Don't go throwing any parades. Number 9, Jordan-Hare Stadium.
If we're in the top 10, we can claim one. We're close enough.
Top 10. Number 9, Jordan-Hare Stadium. I would agree with that. Anybody that's been in an Auburn game, it's pretty crazy. Haven't been here, but I would probably agree. Number 8, Oklahoma, Gaylord family, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Yeah,
Gaylord family is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 7, I disagree, but I'm not. Look, I don't know. I can't believe. I figured this would be honorable mention. Boise State and Albertson Stadium.
See, now you're reading other ones that don't deserve top 10 that now is making UCF look worse. So let's stop this list. We should have ended at 10.
But this is why over their past 16 seasons they've gone 92-8 at home.
Who, UCF?
No.
Well, very close though. We have. I mean,
but Boise State, you play who you play, I guess. Whatever. Ohio Stadium for Ohio State. I would agree. The Horseshoe. Number 6. Number 5. Dooley Field at Sanford Stadium for Georgia. Understandable there. 4, I would agree. I actually think this one should be a little bit higher. Beaver Stadium at Penn State. Those cats get rocking.
They do. The whiteouts.
It's insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 3, Clemson Memorial Stadium right there. I would agree with that. Number 2, Tiger Stadium at LSU.
I'm surprised that's not
Do
one.
not go there at night if you're not an LSU fan.
It really should be one.
I agree. And look, I'm with all due respect, Alabama's number 1, Bryant-Denny Stadium. It is insane. But
are they adding? When was this list made?
Today.
Because maybe they're saying with the addition of the LED lights.
Could be.
Yes, that thing was pretty cool when they.
It was.
I will say when they were coming back against LSU, regardless of everybody has to wipe out fan base and realize on this one that they got it right because UCF's in the top 10 and Florida State and Florida aren't. Now we're moving on to the next part of this. If you got to look at it and realize though that
that's all the time we got. It's time to move on.
If you look though at, by the way, I disagree with that list. I would have picked Florida. Florida State.
Get Boise State out of there. Get them out. Albertson Stadium. Get them out of here.
Gets cold out there. The turf is enough
blue
to hypnotize you.
Dang blue turf.
Kills 2,000 birds. 2,000 birds a year die.
Eastern Washington?
Then you just think you're in a volcano.
The red turf?
Burning! You're not burning, son. That's just the turf.
I had a lot of blood.
How many players thought they were bleeding when some of it, like all those spikes came up on their arm? Like, oh, man, look at that, man. Nah, it's just the spikes, bro. Just wipe it off. Wipe it off clean. Don't need one of those Band-Aids. You're good. You're playing football, big boys.
Turf sucks anyway.
Moral of the story, UCF made the top 10. That's pretty cool. Coming back for more Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Live TV.
Have you fallen behind on your mortgage payments? The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has helped consumers in situations just like yours for more than 60 years. Our certified housing specialists will work with you to review your finances and create a custom plan that's right for your specific situation. NFCC member agencies provide free and affordable help and meet U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development standards. Call 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Little remix there at the beginning.
Country NFL.
This is probably... song's probably hitting home right now for a lot of people.
Drink plenty of whiskey. It's like hand sanitizer for your insides.
That's right. That's what... yeah. How many people have gotten so drunk, though, that they've looked at the hand sanitizer and realized that it's 90% alcohol and said, you know what? I don't feel like I can't drive. Still laws out there if I get in my car.
Let me take that risk.
Someone's believing right now I've tried that based on that conversation right there.
Just play this out for the next 20 minutes.
Listen. It's kicking in right there. I will say, though, that you want to bring it up during the break, and I appreciate it. And if we've forgotten over the before last season, there was a 28-game win streak going on in college football. And as we talk about history, because that's all we have to talk about right now, that needed to be made clear, and I appreciate you bringing that up. 28 straight victories by the UCF Knights before that first loss.
Yep, you're welcome.
So that's
you know me.
Some good news right there. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing that up. 28 straight wins.
So welcome.
Over the last 2 seasons. All right, looking right now at the way too early top 25 in college football. Why not, right? Number 1, checking in at Clemson. No problems right there.
Can't believe it.
Is Isaiah Simmons going to be like the biggest freak ever in the NFL? I feel like if Detroit, it looks like, according to Mel Kiper, who doesn't know all, but we trust the Eagle to make the right decision. I would have to go. If he goes with Okudah is the kind of guy that can make big plays in the secondary, but if you can get an impactful guy that can be a hybrid type player, a safety, a linebacker, an edge rusher in today's NFL, or really for any team ever, think about it. I mean, if you could get a Ray Lewis, a Lawrence Taylor, even today's versions of back a few years back of what Clay Matthews can do for a team, guys like that, Khalil Mack. What's to say Isaiah Simmons can't be something real special in the NFL in today's game, where those versatile players can succeed? I know that Detroit needs a lot of help, and you're going up against Aaron Rodgers, a Joe Brady. I mean, you're going up against now Aaron Rodgers. You're going to go up against probably Nick Foles. We'll see who starts there, but Nick Foles of the Bears. You're going to go up against Kirk Cousins, who got paid, so they're going to throw the football.
Great. Mitch Trubisky just turned the radio off because of you.
I know. He's very upset. Don't walk through the hallways, sir. But I do think, though, that he's the kind of guy that if he doesn't go top 5, Louis Riddick said today on ESPN, if he doesn't go top 5, it would be a mockery to some team.
Oh, there's no way.
But if he doesn't go at 4, which he's expected right now to the Giants, and look, it's Dave Gettleman, and go off the board. And they need desperate help at the tackle, and they just invested in Daniel Jones. So you could see them going number 4 at tackle. There's a couple big dads on the board.
I think Detroit is not going to be able to pick at 3 anyway. I think they're going to trade out of there because I know, look, Darius Slay being gone, they have a hole there. But when you get a guy like Isaiah Simmons, listen, all the scouts and everybody, look, they're all saying this guy is an absolute freak. I mean, running a 4.39 at 240 pounds, big guy, hybrid guy like you said. And you have to have a hybrid guy like that in the NFL now. He's basically 2 players in one. And how do you not take a guy like that? But I think for Detroit, to take Okudah, I think Okudah's awesome. I really do. I think he is fantastic. I just don't know if you really take a corner right there because there's a lot of depth to be had. And Isaiah Simmons is – I'm not saying he's a Chase Young, but what I am saying is he is a one-of-a-kind talent right now that is hard – to pass up, because if you go back and watch his film, he is a freak, an absolute freak. And I think for the Giants, I know if he's on the board, you got to take him because they do need help. This is a really deep tackle draft when you look at it in the offensive line perspective. If he's there, you have to take him. But I don't know. It's a lot to be said. I still think that Detroit though they're going to be trading out of there. They could get some good picks, and for the people that are talking about Washington passing on Chase Young, like dropping to number 5. I don't think that Washington would be willing to do that either if Miami was willing to trade up right there, because Washington needs an edge rusher. They just changed to a 4-3 defense. It makes complete sense. When you have guys like Sweat there, you could really solidify that defense. And at least I know they have a lot of problems, but you need to take hold of some part of your team here. And I can't see them trading out of there. I think it's going to be Detroit. But no, you're right. Isaiah Simmons, that guy's he is the second best defensive player in the draft, and it's not even close.
I think that this draft, him and Chase Young are 2 freak type athletes that you don't want to pass on. And we know it's a quarterback-driven draft right now. Wide receivers, there's so many good wide receivers, too, that you can get deep. I think Jerry Jeudy's the best best route runner we've ever seen. A guy like, even on his same team, a guy like Henry Ruggs. He
could take the top off.
He could take the top off, exactly. And then you got, Jamar Chase, if he was in this draft, but Justin Jefferson will be. But Chase next year is going to be insanely good.
Even guys like CeeDee Lamb, too, though. Like, it's deep. You can go no matter what. You couldn't go wrong with whoever you chose, but I don't know. I think the biggest question in all this, Daniel Jeremiah made a good point. He was talking about the draft being like it is now with guys can't bring players in. For the most part, he said, don't expect days 1 through 3 to be any different. He said, 4 through 7 will obviously change. He said, but don't expect teams to take a lot of go for those risky triples. He said, expect them to take a lot of singles because they're the safe guys.
Yeah, Quintez Cephas, if we can get him deep, that guy. I have any team that is not known for doing something and that one guy stands out. Think about it. Coach Dave Wilson, who has sat in with us a number of times, he's the one who helped get Calvin Johnson to Georgia Tech, and Calvin Johnson was on an option team. So was Demaryius Thomas, and both those guys have. I would say both of them are Hall of Fame. Demaryius Thomas is going to be borderline just because he didn't have the longevity. Calvin Johnson's one of the top 5 receivers ever. If you had to make the list,
he can still come back and play.
If you had to make the list of top 5 receivers ever, I'm just going to do this on the top of my head right now. But stat-wise, it's Jerry Rice for sure. But I got to go in their prime. I'm talking if you had one guy to go to in the big moment or anything for a game, you're starting a receiver, just wide receiver, I got to go Randy Moss in his prime. He was just so good. He was so phenomenal at what he did. And I watched him in Minnesota and when he was in New England, and he did it just the longevity when he wanted to play, when he cared. But then Jerry Rice, I'd put Larry Fitzgerald on that list. And then I would also, and I'm talking everything, Marvin Harrison stat-wise, but I don't think without Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison was a top 5 ever receiver. I think Michael Thomas would be a top 5 when all is said and done. So I'll put him on that list. So I'll take Michael Thomas, and I'll also put Calvin Johnson. So I think you can't go wrong by putting Calvin Johnson, Michael Thomas, Larry Fitzgerald, and then Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. I know the Tim Browns. I know the other guys. Antonio Freeman's. There's a lot. But those 5 guys right there. And you can go back to Stallworth and Swan and all those guys. But those are the 5 I would take. And then obviously Gronk gets at it.
Well, one thing when we talk about this is a draft unlike any other, and it's interesting because even Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, they're like, listen, you can't go wrong here for really any of the guys when you talk about first-rounders. But when you look at a guy like Derek Brown out of Auburn, this is a big guy. I mean, this is a guy normally we would be talking about
Baby Barack, they called him yesterday.
top 4 picks when you look at him. I mean, just how dominant he is and what a run stuffer and pass rusher he was for Auburn and that vaunted defensive line. But when you look at a guy like that just tells you, though, how good Chase Young is. Like Derek Brown, people forget he's there, and he's predicted to go right now 7th, I think, to the Panthers. But that just shows you, once again, how deep this draft is.
And Derek Brown working with our legend right here, 2-time champion Fred Robbins, Super Bowl champion, who was on TV yesterday. I was going to text him, and then I realized it was the first game from Dallas when Dallas played in their new stadium, and it was on last night against the Giants. And Fred Robbins was in on the first play tackling Marion Barber. Then they double teamed him, and he ended up getting in the end zone, but Fred had to get double teamed up front. But he was on that. That was one of the most ridiculous defensive lines ever, with Justin Tuck and Osi Umenyiori and then you also had Michael Strahan and Matthias Kiwanuka all up there with him and Joseph up in the middle, grinded out. That team was nasty, but it was cool to see Fred out there playing. I mean, I remember watching, but I was also in college when he was in his prime playing. And there was a couple late-night games where I watched, but I didn't really remember.
He's a giant.
He's awesome. He is a giant.
I feel like looking at him,
a gentle giant.
I feel like Fred could still play in the NFL.
He's awesome. And there's a reason why people at that level, you don't do it. We might go to camps. You might go hang out with people because we want to respect the local players. The best athletes in the world don't come down at Exos and train with Fred Robbins because they have to. They're doing it because they want to better their career.
They want to be the best.
Fred Robbins right now is training Derek Brown. He was training guys that are probably still down here right now because of the quarantine or they had to stay. But John Grenard from Florida, that was awesome. And a really class act when we met all these guys and got to talk to them when they were down at World of Beer for the national title. And just good class act people. Derek Brown, really good guy. And if you didn't know, he is in charge of all these student athletes when it comes to government at Auburn. He is a very smart person and really loves to get into political debates and they call him Baby Barack out there. Now he's 6'5", 330, but he's a beast.
He's as big as advertised.
And some people talked about Washington. It wouldn't be a bad move to take him at 2. They're going to probably go Chase Young, but there's a lot of really outstanding players in this draft. This is the most intriguing draft, and I'm not just saying this because I've been in sports radio for 13 years now. This is the most intriguing draft I've ever seen. Just between Joe Burrow and Tua, which one's going to have a longevity of his career, where Justin Herbert is going to fall to. I'm not as worried about Jordan Love, but looking at the beginning of this draft, how many impact players, Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, these guys can be something so special. Usually you get a big offensive tackle like an Eric Fisher in some drafts going 1. This one is going to be something special.
He had Zach Bond, too, the linebacker for Wisconsin.
Yes, he did, yeah. And also Gross Matos, I think, was out here too, from Penn State.
Yeah.
He's going to go in the first round,
That's the other guy I was trying to remember, those 2 guys.
Yeah. And then the big offensive lineman.
The Titans are rumored to be picking him. So
yeah.
Could use it.
And then us.
Yeah.
We were there.
Yeah, we were there.
We were there. Coming back. I miss those days of going out, watching.
Every Sunday.
I would wake up every Sunday with a happy smile and not a hangover.
I will now, for sure.
That's right. We will. We're coming back for more.
Being cooped up in the house doesn't mean you can't still enjoy some amazing culinary creations from the best restaurants on the beach. Several area restaurants like Redfish, Bluefish, H2O, Riptides, and Fish Heads on Pensacola Beach are now offering curbside pickup and online ordering through your favorite food delivery apps for most of the regular menu items. Check out the menus and information at PensacolaBeach.com. Spend your spring locally and enjoy the local beach restaurant food you already know and love. PensacolaBeach.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
JP here with Talk Football and the Sports Drive. This is a different time for all of us, and for some, it's extremely tough right now. All of us here at ESPN Pensacola want to send a shout out to all our first responders and healthcare workers right now. We appreciate all the work that you do day in and day out, but right now we know you are all working harder than ever to help all of us get through this to beat COVID-19. If you see someone or know someone who is a first responder or healthcare worker, don't shake their hand, but let them know you appreciate them. Remember, a kind word goes a long way. For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats, I'm JP. 7 baseball players who have been struck out by Nolan Ryan had sons who grew up to also get struck out by Nolan Ryan. Like father, like son. Joe Gibbs is the only coach to win the Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks. Mickey Mantle was originally a shortstop, but after making 102 errors in his last 2 seasons in the minors, he was moved to the outfield. Starting in 1990, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls never had a 3-game losing streak for 8 years. That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats. I'm JP.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brilliante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Tuesday, you could say that girl was good as gone. And then when Thursday came around, I was all alone. So I went for a drive to clear my mind. Ended up at a Shell on I-65. Then I won $100 on a scratch-off ticket. Bought 2 12-packs and a tank of gas with it. She swore they were a waste of time, all, but she was wrong.
I know we only got a couple minutes. I hate talking over Luke Combs. Luke's one of the best. I know he's did the concert down at Sandshaker for everybody with Cat Country, but he really is. He's the epitome of a guy that not everybody knew, was making nothing, got a chance to play as a backup, one of those people. I remember seeing them when we had the concert not too long ago with Jason Aldean. My wife and I, we don't get to go to too many concerts with our younger one growing up and things like that, but we got to go to the Jason Aldean concert. And he was playing before Jason Aldean, and I don't know as much about country. Since working down here at Cat Country, I know a ton more. And I listen to the songs, and classic songs with a cold one chill in your hand. It actually sounds like half the country songs. But I have listened to a lot more. I get a lot of these people I didn't know, like the Michael Rays. I would have never known that unless working here. But I will say, Luke Combs, when he was first at that time, Laura, Lena, Luke Combs, and Jason Aldean were at the concert. And Luke was chilling, hanging out, and I watch, and talent is talent in anything you do. I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. I was like, this guy's better. I mean, Jason Aldean's got the cutoff shirt, the jeans, and he rocks it. Jason does a good. He's got the reputation. He does a good job. But Luke Combs, songs wise, I was getting more into it. I was like, this guy's awesome. And then he really started to pick up. He's the real deal right there. Some of the quick headlines here: Jadeveon Clowney has lowered his price. Tough times right now. It's gone from $20 million to $18 million.
Titans are rumored to get him.
That's right. Core muscle injury. Saints will have their draft at New Orleans Brewery. Benson family owned right there. Get back local. And then back to the Saints. And then Antonio Brown working out with Lamar Jackson. 6 feet away. There you go. JP, have a great rest of your Wednesday night.
Yep.
For all of you out there, I'm Chad Brillante. Thanks for tuning in here to the Sports Drive. And stay safe out there. Enjoy the last day before the 24-hour lockdown, which is still essential businesses. And as always, God bless. We'll talk to you again tomorrow because we'll be back here. We're essential.
Just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
This is Spain and Company on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Welcome back to Spain and Company. Sarah Spain, Jason Goff with you on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Get right back to the show, but first your SportsCenter headlines. NFL draft prospect Tua Tagovailoa told SportsCenter tonight he's 100% and, quote, just ready to go. Tagovailoa gave no specific recovery time, but didn't rule out the idea of playing as a rookie. Jadeveon Clowney was asking $20 million per season, but according to ESPN's Diana Rossini, he's dropped that asking price by at least $2 million. Wimbledon canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic, first time since 1945, World War II, that the oldest Grand Slam in tennis has been canceled. We're presented by Progressive Insurance, and joining us now, four-time NBA champ from the Chicago Bulls, Will Perdue. Will, thanks so much for making time for us.
Oh, Sarah, you got it. I'm just curious to see what my man Jason's been doing. You know, I catch him occasionally on Instagram, cooking, doing, but I hear he's playing video games. He's obviously keeping himself occupied. I just want to know if he's been exercising or not.
Will, I've let you down, my brother. The halftime snacks of cheesy popcorn and M&Ms have now, turned into whole pizzas. So I need you, man. We need to go jog on the lakefront. I know you're not in your Chicago home right now, but as soon as this thing is over, me, you, and Kendall going to get back in the gym, man, because I need it, brother.
There you go.
All right. Well, hey, we'll take care of it. You know Kendall will set it up because he wants to make us all look bad.
Of course. No 53-year-old man should be in his shape, but
That's
digress.
right. That's right. So, Will, you won 2 titles with the Bulls. You were no longer with the team for that 1997-98 season that will be spotlighted in this Last Dance documentary. But you obviously know a lot of the players that will be featured very well. What are you most excited to see in terms of the behind the scenes there?
Well, there's 2 things, Sarah. One, I want to see who, because, one of the interesting things, I think they ended up talking to me for like 2.5 hours. So, all the people in Chicago, what they did was they set up at MJ's house over there in Highland Park, which he still hasn't sold, by the way. And, they brought everybody in to do interviews. And, they said it was only going to be about 45 minutes, and we just kept going. And they were just like, oh, this is good stuff. And then all of a sudden you see the trailer for it. You see Obama and all these celebrities, and you're like, yeah, I think I might have wasted my 3 hours because that might end up on the cutting room floor. So I'm curious to see kind of the direction that they go with this thing because of the fact that, and I understand where they went with that, but it was just Michael Jordan and that team. I talked about, when we won in 91, 92, 93, we kind of joked that, we're kind of like the Beatles, man. It's and more so because of Michael than anything else. But then you throw Dennis Rodman in the mix. Michael comes back, and I talked about it's more like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones together. That whole thing was, a circus was an understatement. And I just remember talking to Steve Kerr and Judd Buechler and Bill Wennington, and some of the stories those guys had were unbelievable. And I'm curious just how in depth they go on this and what they actually talk about. Because, what people forget about is this was something that the NBA had in the can for a long time. And then the ESPN expanded on it. And what actually changed for Michael to finally give it the thumbs up and let him do it?
Speaking of, you and I have talked about the private and very, not just an icon, but a global star and one of the greatest athletes of all time, but a very private guy, Michael Jordan. When he opens up, I mean, you were a former teammate. Obviously, you saw him for years, spent a lot more time with him than sometimes his family did or your family because you guys are on the road together all the time. When he opens up, what are we going to get out of Michael or see from Michael that may surprise us a little bit?
Well, I'll be interested to see what side of Michael do we actually see. My understanding is the majority of this stuff is post-baseball, so he's obviously a different person. He's the same player, if not better, not necessarily from a skill standpoint, but just from a mental toughness standpoint because of, he had to make up for the drop-off in skill set or athleticism that happens to everybody in age. But do we see the hard-edged, rough guy that gave that Hall of Fame speech that pissed off a lot of people because they don't understand Michael Jordan? Or does he really open up and show you the soft